fall from the sky? I don't know, Shu Bing replied, leaning back and shaking her head, then continued to struggle against Wang Cheng's bindings. She was still trying hard to break free. Su Ling watched this scene, somewhat astonished, and opened her mouth to say something, but was shot a glare by Wang Cheng, quickly becoming obedient. However, her action caught Shu Bing's attention. The woman looked at Su Ling and said, "Looking at your outfit, you must be a soldier too, right? Why are you helping this person? Hurry and help me get free. Tell me his background." Su Ling opened her mouth, but before she could say anything, she saw Wang Cheng take a rag used for cleaning battleships from the corner, crumple it up, and stuff it into Shu Bing's mouth. This guy wanted to fool Su Ling, and Wang Cheng couldn't stand it, so he directly silenced her. Su Ling was dumbfounded. She couldn't believe her eyes. This first awakened person from the temporary survivor base in Haicheng, admired and flattered by many awakened ones, was now captured by Wang Cheng. And not only was she tied up, but also had a rag stuffed in her mouth. However, Shu Bing was an awakened one, and with her powerful body, she managed to use her mouth's muscles to spit out the rag in one go. "You dare to stuff a rag in my mouth? Do you know what you're doing?" She muffled. Wang Cheng was genuinely surprised this time, but his reaction was quick. He bent down, picked up the rag, shoved it back in, and pulled out a large roll of tape from the vehicle to seal it tightly. This time, Shu Bing couldn't spit it out again and could only make muffled sounds. Su Ling watched as Shu Bing's eyes widened in anger. Now it's peaceful, Wang Cheng said seriously. "Don't worry, I won't kill you. You're with the military, and I know quite a few military people myself. Although you try to take my stuff, I can overlook that. Besides, I admire the fact that you're willing to cooperate with military research. So I won't do anything to you. This is just to keep you honest. Once I meet up with the military, I'll hand you over to them." Wang Cheng spoke sincerely, then leaned his head out to look outside the vehicle. His words were truthful. He had no intention of harming such a powerful awakened individual, as it wouldn't benefit him at all. Moreover, although Shu Bing had taken his belongings, it was not for herself but to send the meteorite for research, which earned her some respect from Wang Cheng. Of course, that was where it ended. And besides, Wang Cheng was heading to a different place soon, so he didn't have to worry about the consequences of his actions, as he wouldn't be around in a couple of days. Outside the window, the diggers had lost their target and were gradually disappearing into the distance. Wang Cheng started the vehicle and moved slowly forward. This time, he tried to keep his speed as low as possible, moving cautiously and stopping intermittently, finally not startling the level 5 behemoth. In the silence and darkness of the street, Wang Cheng moved forward slowly. The vehicle's speed dropped to a crawl, and even with the diggers' biological radar, they couldn't detect Wang Cheng's presence. As they drove a distance forward, Wang Cheng was surprised to see a large convoy ahead on the bumpy street. The convoy moved cautiously, albeit in a grand manner, advancing at a turtle's pace. It seemed that there were several groups of survivors, with the largest group comprising 7 or 8 modified vehicles, some of which were equipped with glaring heavy machine guns at the front. The other groups of survivors, clearly fearful, dared not move on their own and timidly followed behind the front group. It was evident that the stronger teams were at the front, while the weaker ones trailed behind. They all seemed aware of the presence of the diggers and had figured out certain patterns, proceeding with caution. Wang Cheng's battered vehicle caught the attention of the survivors here. His speed was relatively faster, as he was eager to reunite with Su Xinghai and others to upgrade their warship and head straight to their destination. Unwilling to move at such a slow pace, he prepared to overtake them. Initially, everything seemed fine, but as he passed the second largest survivor convoy, someone in that vehicle glanced over and, upon seeing the mountain of supplies piled in Wang Cheng's vehicle, their eyes lit up. Suddenly, they accelerated and blocked Wang Cheng's path. As the saying goes, fortune often lies in risk. The person inside the vehicle rolled down the window, leaned out, and waved a rifle, sternly ordering, "Kid, get out of the car, I want yours, or I'll take your life." Hearing this, Wang Cheng frowned and rolled down his window, replying, "Are you looking to die?" Just as the leader of that convoy was about to respond, one of his subordinates glanced into Wang Cheng's vehicle and seemed to recognize Shu Bing, exclaiming, "Boss, I think I know the tied-up person in that car. You know her? Someone you know?" The leader was clearly taken aback. "That's great. We have even more reason to rob them." But the subordinate hesitated, saying, "I saw that woman, who was tied up, from a distance at the temporary survivor base in Haicheng. She seems to be the treasure of the Haicheng Research Institute, the first awakener, Shu Bing." "What?" The leader was shocked, his eyes nearly popping out. Wang Cheng furrowed his brows. His vehicle was blocked by the other party. This place was also a hunting ground for diggers, and he didn't dare to move too much. He rolled down his window to confront them. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't bother with them at all, but unexpectedly, as soon as he said a word, those people started mumbling amongst themselves, not making their intentions clear. The previously arrogant leader's face visibly paled. Upon hearing his subordinate's words, his first reaction was disbelief. "No way. Are you kidding? The first awakener of Haiqing is a figure of legend, known to everyone in Haiqing. How could we encounter her here, especially in such a tied-up state? Isn't this too efficient? However, after having his subordinate confirm the identity, the subordinate was certain that the woman in the vehicle was indeed Xu Bing. At this point, the leader was dumbfounded. Who did he just block? Who could it be that captured the first awakened one from Haiqing? Cold sweat instantly dripped down his back. Just then, the commotion behind them seemed to have alerted the lead vehicle, and a somewhat portly small boss jumped down from the front and walked over step by step. Upon seeing this person, the leader's heart skipped a beat. He recognized this small boss as the head of the survivor faction that had managed to escape. Known for being ruthless and powerful, someone he couldn't afford to offend. What was he doing here? A thought crossed the leader's mind. Why not take advantage of the situation and pass this trouble on to him? However, a shocking scene unfolded. The portly small boss approached, glanced at the vehicle they had just stopped, and suddenly laughed. He cupped his hands and said to the car and its occupants, "Brother Wang Chung, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you again at this time." The leader's face paled, almost as if he had lost a loved one. What a joke. The people in that car knew the small boss. Not only had they captured Xu Bing, but they also had this kind of connection. Who on earth were they? At that moment, the small boss's gaze swept over, and while he was all smiles towards Wang Chung, his expression turned indifferent and his tone cold when facing the weaker survivor leader. "Brother, this is my friend." "What do you mean by this?" The leader's face changed dramatically, and he quickly waved his hands, saying, "Misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Quickly, clear the way. Aren't you going to let our boss Chen's friend through?" He and his subordinates swiftly moved the vehicles, their speed astonishing. The small boss was none other than Chen Jigua, who had previously met Wang Chung at a gas station. Upon recognizing Wang Cheng's vehicle, he felt a stir in his heart and took the initiative to come down, immediately spotting Su Ling and Xu Bing in the car. He had met Su Ling before. As for Xu Bing, when Chen Jigua's gaze fell on her, bound and showcasing her good figure, his pupils constricted sharply, and he felt a tremor run through him. Then, as if he hadn't seen anything, he averted his gaze and said, "It's so great to meet you. I didn't expect you to be here as well. What a coincidence." Wang Chung had a good impression of Chen Jigua. He was someone who knew his place, and his way of speaking and acting was pleasant. Having him step in to help, although Wang Chung could manage himself, certainly saved him a lot of trouble. Wang Chung had not anticipated that the most powerful faction in this convoy would actually be led by Chen Jigua. Xu Bing watched this scene coldly from the corner. Su Ling was also somewhat surprised and reached out to greet Chen Jigua. Wang Chung said, "It really is quite the coincidence, but this isn't a place to linger. Shall we leave here first?" Chen Jigua nodded, thought for a moment, and said, "If you don't mind, Brother Wang Chung, shall we leave together for a bit?" "Sure." Wang Chung nodded in agreement. The convoy slowly moved forward. Seeing that Wang Chung was friends with Chen Jigua, the members of the other survivor group instantly quieted down. Wang Cheng's vehicle no longer shines as it once did. It looks somewhat worn and tattered, not resembling a formidable survivor. However, Chen Jigua's strength and manpower are evident to all. Everyone follows Chen Jigua to escape, and no one dares to harm his friends. The night is deep, and the far end of the city is shrouded in a bloody hue. Faintly, it seems that the clouds behind the blood-red shadows remain still, eerily suspended in the sky like a forgotten backdrop. The silence does not last long. After proceeding without incident for a while, they hear a deafening roar coming from a distance. Looking far into the horizon, they see a pale, gigantic mutated creature leap from the ground, seemingly having discovered a new target and is desperately chasing after it. Level 5 mutated creatures are dominant presences in their active areas. Those who unknowingly step into this territory are essentially walking to their doom, often becoming prey before they can comprehend the behavior patterns of these diggers. Fortunately, Wang Chung and his group have managed to leave the hunting grounds of the level 5 creatures without incident. Soon after, they are surrounded by a pack of mutated dogs. In the darkness, shadows of more than 20 mutated creatures emerge. Chen Jigua fires first, and Wang Chung also extends his rifle to sweep through the area, taking down the mutated beings. His vehicle-mounted machine gun draws everyone's attention. However, modified vehicles are not uncommon. Many skilled individuals in the post-apocalyptic world utilize their talents to survive, which has become relatively common. After eliminating the pack of mutated creatures, Wang Chung and Chen Jigua briefly exchanged information. Chen Jigua's group had initially fled with the large assembly of survivors from the coastal city, but did not join the survivors' self-defense team, closely following the military convoy during the retreat. However, their entire group was later ambushed by diggers. Chen Jigua claimed that they were almost at the outskirts at that time, and he witnessed a scene that he would never forget. He saw a military aircraft approaching rapidly from outside the coastal city, flying low and opening fire, a sight that was incredibly shocking. But shortly after, those aircraft inexplicably self-destructed in the sky, turning into massive fireballs. Wang Cheng felt a chill run down his spine.